Welcome back to This Week. We caught up with Governor Bill Lee this week and got his view on the legal fight over the Covenant shooters' writings, increasing funding to add state troopers, and whether he agrees with Speaker Cameron Sexton, who wants the Attorney General to look into removing the Shelby County District Attorney for dereliction of duty because he has said he will refer some nonviolent gun offenders with no violent criminal history to potential rehabilitation sentences rather than prison time.
Being soft on crime in the wrong circumstances is a really bad strategy for public safety. Rehabilitation is a part of being smart on crime. It's about determining the right conditions in which we should assert rehabilitative efforts instead of prison. But violent criminals, those with aggravated charges, they should be prosecuted and they should be taken off the streets to make sure that they don't commit more crimes. We have to make sure that the legal system in Shelby County is doing its job and taking offenders off the street. We have a real serious crime problem there, and putting offenders back on the streets, not putting people who are a threat to public safety, not putting them where they should be in prosecution and incarceration, we're not going to solve that problem. So I can't speak to the particulars of what Speaker Sexton said, but I agree with him generally, which is we can be smart on crime, but we have to be tough on crime. We can't be soft on crime. And that's been part of the challenge in some of the cities across this country that are dealing with increasing crime rates, and we have to battle that.
The governor was asked about his push for more funding for additional state troopers.
It is a big class, and we're excited about that. Recruitment for law enforcement has long been a problem across the country. We've made very concerted efforts to recruit law enforcement, not only from within Tennessee, from outside the state. We've elevated the pay for those in the Highway Patrol, and we're starting to really see results from that. This is a very big class. We are now having multiple classes a year instead of one class. We have increased the trooper count by several hundred in this state. We've increased in the budget funding for additional trooper positions because we were significantly below what we needed to be when I came into office. So I'm very encouraged with the numbers. We need to have more troopers in spots all across the state, particularly in areas where we have elevated crime rates. And we're doing that. We're committing troopers to Shelby County. We're committing troopers into our urban centers. The only way we can do that is if we can attract the best and brightest men and women into law enforcement, to pay them appropriately, to have the right retention strategies for them. And I'm very proud of what the Tennessee Highway Patrol has done to attract, to create classes like this, and to keep these folks working for the people of Tennessee.
The governor was asked his view of a federal judge overturning the Biden administration's attempt for Title IX to be trans-inclusive.
Well, I think it's an example of the courts determining overreach from the administration. So there's a separation of powers in this country for a purpose, and the courts understand that purpose. And when they see one branch of government, like the executive branch, the president's office, overreach, I think they've indicated that should not happen, and that's how that ruling came down.
And the governor was asked about the legal battles surrounding the potential release of the Covenant school shooters' writings.
Well, I think there's moving parts in that story, and it's been going on for some time. And I've said since the beginning that Tennesseans ought to have clarity. We ought to understand what is going to be made public what's going to be made available to the public, why it's going to be made available, what's going to be withheld, and why. That really hasn't happened yet because of the holdup in the courts, but I think they're coming to some resolve, and we'll know more soon about what the expectations are regarding what's available to the public.
Stay with us. This Week continues in a moment.